Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Buying a car from a stranger is always a bad idea. In the first story, our OP was convinced of this. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Man that sold me a car called my insurance company and listed himself as a driver. I bought a car last year from a mutual friend that I didn't know well at all. Everything was fine until this past June when he fell into some heavy debt. He gave me a call sometime around June asking me to take out a loan for him, to which I refused. Red flag number one right there. After this, he began to harass and pester me for money. I was already paying way more than I should have been monthly for his car. I eventually just gave the car back, and that was that. I gave the car back mid-July and purchased a new one, Nissan Altima, from a legitimate dealer. This morning I received a call from my insurance company, Progressive, saying that this man has listed himself as a driver, costing me another $500. I calmly explained the situation, but they told me that unless he can provide proof that we don't live together, we absolutely do not, I still have to pay it. This is absurd. How is this allowed? The guy in question is obviously desperate and trying to get back at me for giving the car back, but how can I provide proof for someone else? This is in Massachusetts and I have Progressive insurance. Update number one. Okay, so a lot's happened since I first posted. For starters, I should clarify some things. We signed an agreement that I would pay monthly increments for the title until the car, $30K, was paid in full. He held on to the title. Initially, he said I would be under his insurance, but only a few days after I saw this guy was some kind of shady, I switched to my own. I didn't have the car in my name, which is why I was able to give it back so easily. I just thought, screw this drama, I'll just get a new car. Today, my adjuster happens to be out sick, but I reported this man to both the state and federal insurance fraud agencies. A representative of Progressive informed me that the man in question blatantly lied to my adjuster and told him we live together and that he drives my vehicles occasionally. I've only spoken to him a number of times, so this is certainly not true. I've been in contact with a representative of both Progressive and the insurance fraud agencies all morning and am finishing sending in documentation as we speak. I'm expecting a phone call and will update soon. Update number two. Not much has changed since the last update, except everything's been officially reported with all required documentation. Luckily, I kept all the text messages between us, which I attached to the reports I filed. With my adjuster out today, of all days, just my luck, it's been a bit difficult to get this taken care of. After I settle this, because I'm not paying an extra $500, I will most definitely be switching providers. And our second story. You want me to take my time cleaning your nasty house? By all means. A few years ago, after moving to Virginia, where my then fiance, now husband, lives, it was taking some time for me to find a job. I have a background in executive administration and was eventually able to find work in that field, but for a few months I helped out at a friend's house cleaning company to make some extra money. Most people won't do that work, but I'm here to tell you that the work is hard but satisfying, and you'll most definitely lose weight doing it. Me equals poor little hardworking me, CHL equals crazy hoarder lady, boss equals boss. I'm one of the only house cleaners at the company that speaks fluent English, and this meant they liked to send me to the more difficult clients because I could understand better what they wanted. Not to say at all that I was a better worker than anyone else. They were just so much better at their jobs and so much harder working, but they did like to take me to crazy clients because I could understand what they wanted and, if necessary, explain why it was or wasn't possible. No, we can't do a full deep clean of your 4-bedroom townhouse in an hour, unless you're willing to pay for 4 more people to help, etc. This woman, CHL, was never happy with anyone. She yelled at and complained about every person that cleaned her house and always requested someone new. So they decided to send me, which of course I was super excited about. Walking into her house, horror movie music, went off in my head. She wasn't a gross mold and bugs and newspapers everywhere hoarder. She was a, classy hoarder. Fine furniture packing her rooms to the point that they couldn't have been used because you couldn't even get into the rooms. Thousands, not exaggerating. Figurines covering the shelves. Picture frames every few inches on every wall. The worst part? 4 huge St. Bernards. Shedding, drooling, dusty, muddy St. Bernards. She's very excited to see someone who understands English, and she launches into all her instructions about what must be done. Bathroom needs a deep clean, bleach wherever I can, shower has lime stains that must come out, huge jacuzzi tub has to be completely cleaned, not just dusted, and the 10 plants around the tub need to be moved and cleaned as well. There are special requirements for every bedroom. Her adult son is home from college, and his bathroom is absolutely atrocious, so I have to spend time in there. I have to dust every trinket and picture frame. There's special leather treatment for all the furniture. Every appliance in the kitchen has a different treatment. The special backsplash behind the oven has 2 different treatments. Oh, and I have to clean all the drool stains on the walls and windows. It's important to stop and explain that there are 2 types of cleanings we gave: deep cleaning, scrub, carpet washing, baseboard wall cleaning, and weekly cleaning, basic bathroom washdown, dust, vacuum, etc. Each had an allotment of hours based on the size of the home. This was a weekly cleaning, and it was supposed to take 4 hours, and I had a house after hers. I'm 3 hours in, and I haven't left the top floor yet. Every single thing I do, she has a problem with and instructs me to do a different way. I tell her that my time is ending soon, and if she wanted me to stay longer, I had to call my boss. She insisted I do so, and my boss told me she would put someone else on the second house to stay as long as I needed for her to be happy and I'd be paid. My boss knew this woman was a little crazy, but she didn't know how crazy, mainly because of said language barriers with the other workers. She mostly wanted me to stay and do a full cleaning because she wanted a little more recon on this house since it had been so problematic in the past. So I stay until she is completely happy. 9 hours on a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath house. She checked on every room after I was done dusting it from top to bottom and found it needed to be dusted again. She thought I was bad at dusting. No, her house was just so disgusting that it got dusty again that quick. Sorry, I still have nightmares. My boss couldn't believe it had really taken me that long. She didn't think I was lying by any means. She just thought that since I was a little new, it couldn't possibly be as bad as I was saying it was. And on top of that, CHL still called to complain about me. I was sent back again the next week, and again the same thing. 9 hours of doing everything the exact way she wanted. She calls to complain. Next week they send me and a more experienced cleaner. 8 hours of the 2 of us, and she calls to complain. Finally, my boss is over this. She offers to come clean the house herself. CHL is so pleased she finally has what she wants, the most experienced cleaner giving her top-notch service. Same thing happens. My boss is there for 9 hours. She comes back to the office looking ragged. It's been a war with dust and hair and drool. So CHL got what she wanted, the top dog to come and clean her house. And what does boss lady top dog do? Realize they're undercharging her by half and double her rate? She was furious, and we left her to find a different company to be suckered into cleaning that mess. And our next story. Get crackin' on an essay about arthritis? Sure, Mom. I was reminiscing after I made the poor nurse shudder after cracking my knuckles at my doctor's appointment. It reminded me of a funny story with my mom. My mom absolutely loathed whenever I cracked my knuckles around her. I can't help myself. It's a bad habit, and once I start, I have to do all of them. She would constantly yell at me to stop. She would tell me it's bad for me and that I'm going to get arthritis from doing that. One day at home, I started making my fingers into Rice Krispie treats, snap, crackle, pop. Mom had enough and snapped herself. I want you to write a 2-page essay about cracking your fingers, including about arthritis. No more than double-spaced, 12-point font, and all that. I don't want you trying anything funny. Well, of course I'm going to try something funny. We wouldn't be here if I didn't. I sat at the computer and pulled open Google and typed in how cracking your fingers does not cause arthritis. Turned out I was correct. I had plenty of sources, including one guy who cracked his knuckles regularly on one hand and not at all on the other. The other hand got arthritis and the cracking hand did not. I included that, a few other truthful things like it does cause loss of grip, but ultimately it was about how it helped prevent arthritis in the long term. She took the essay without a word, skimmed it, and called it good to my surprise. I couldn't believe I got away with it. But I also remember that it got brought up in a conversation in my adult years before cancer claimed her. Mom, what did I tell you about cracking your knuckles? I had you write an essay on that and everything. Me. You didn't read that, did you? Mom, what makes you think that? Me, smiling like a fox in a henhouse, 'cause I wrote it on how it prevents arthritis. Mom with surprised Pikachu face. No, you didn't. Me, cited sources and everything. Mom, you brat. Me, apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I remember the story of the guy who only cracked the knuckles on one of his hands. He'd done it since he was a kid, something like 50 years of research. And our last story. Bank gave away my entire banking account. So last week, a check I wrote bounced from an account I have that I rarely use. It's a beneficiary account from when my grandfather died. I called the bank, where I was informed that I closed the account to pay for my wedding. I told them I sure as hell did not and have been married for 6 years. After them jerking me around, are you sure you're not getting married? Did you maybe forget about taking that money for your wedding, etc.? I finally got them to open a fraud case. Here's the crazy part. I call and basically stalk them to get them to investigate. I finally speak with someone, and what happened is they gave my money away to another woman with the same name. This woman opened a car loan with the bank, and because we have the same name, they just hooked her name to my account. She lives in Florida, and I live in Colorado. We don't have anything else in common but our first and last name, so she ends up calling the bank. They assure her that money is hers, and a relative left it to her, so she rushes down and withdraws it all. I figured all this out before the bank did through some good old-fashioned Facebook and internet stalking, sent them the info, and boom, open and shut case. So now the bank has admitted fault, finally, and will restore the account. They asked me not to file a police report, which sort of makes sense. They, after all, encouraged her to take it. But I have no idea what personal info of mine she has and was given to her. The icing on the cake was I got a letter from the bank yesterday with her personal info on it, including address. So now they've compromised both our info. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.